I stole money from my daughter's tuition. That's right. You heard it correct. We're in Chicago, April 2018. I'm working third shift. I get home from a long night and I see a disconnection notice from ComEd sitting on the island when I walk in the house. I'm about $38,000 in debt at the time. Ran up every credit card known to man. We got a loan out from the bank. There's no way. There's no way I'm going to pay this bill. Like, we're getting our electric cut off. I had $220 tucked away in an envelope. My 3-year-old daughter's preschool tuition. I had to take 172 of that and pay the ComEd. So I jump in the car with my daughter, take her to preschool. I try to slither in. I don't want to bump into anybody there. And sure enough, the main director comes up and she says, Mr. Van Gorkum, just a reminder that you owe tuition money. And if it's not paid by the end of the week, we're not going to be able to reserve your daughter's spot for registration coming up in another couple months for next year. Now, what I haven't told you is that this is the third time they've come to me and told me about the tuition. I tell her and promise and swear up and down, listen, I'm going to have this money for you by Thursday. It's Tuesday, right? I'm not going to have this money. I know I'm not going to have this money. She's looking at me. She knows that I'm not going to have this money. She shakes her head. She nods. I kiss my daughter goodbye. I get home. My wife tells me, how'd it go? And I lose it. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I remember collapsing on the kitchen table, just face buried in my arms, bawling, sobbing. I felt helpless. I felt like a failure. See, we made great money, but I was buried in debt. A whole lifetime of poor decisions and not being taught how to manage money had come back and just pummeled me. There's no excuses, it's all me. But at the end of the day, here I was crying my eyes out with my wife trying to console me, and like that ugly cry. And I vowed at that moment I was never, ever going to be like that again. I was never going to feel that way again. That was it. I'm drawing a line in the sand. This is where I completely change the way that we spend, the way that we manage money. And I did. From that day in late April 2018 to July of 2018, we sold everything that wasn't tied down in our house. We went from having $38,000 in debt to having $40,000 in the bank. That's how intentional I got. That's how much I wrote out our budget. I literally would cash my check and mark out every single bill to the cent and put them in piles and label them Nicor gas, ComEd, mortgage, insurance payment. We cut cable. We started being smarter about the electricity that we were using. We got intentional. We cut all our credit cards, all of them. We paid them all off, cut them up. We had literally turned our lives around. So much that we were able to afford our first family Disney trip that September. We came out here to Florida and we loved it. It was magical. By that time, the next year, we had $60,000, $70,000 in the bank. bought another vacation. Same time, came out, enjoyed that time. Man, probably from the time we left Orlando all the way through Atlanta, Georgia, my wife and I just sat there and talked about how we need to move out to Florida. And then we got home, and then life falls back into place, right? You jump back into your job, you jump back into your routines, and life is now back into the full swing of things. We had this huge house. I mean, just wait, one of those houses that you have rooms that you don't even use, like a dining room and a living room that you never use, like a loft study, a basement the size of a roller rink. Just unnecessary. We lived on a lake. We're in this huge backyard. And my kids are running around in the backyard and they're trying to catch lightning bugs. And she turns and she looks at me and she says, "So what's next?" What do you mean? She's like, "What's next for us? We're high school sweethearts. We said we wanted to get married. We said we wanted to have good jobs. We said that we were going to start a family. We have. We bought the huge house. We have the nice cars. Like, what's next?" And I'm looking at her completely puzzled, like, and she says, "What's next is you being here with us, enjoying it." And I remember just laughing out loud at her. Like, it could never happen. We just dug ourselves out of this hole. How in the world do you expect me to leave my job? How? And do what? And then I remember having this horrible day, and it clicks. What am I doing? I need to quit this job. We need to figure out a way to make money without me going and working a 9-to-5 job anymore. I need to capitalize on these years that I have with the kids. I'm never going to get this time back. I'm literally racing home. I run in the door and I look at her and I say, "Let's do it. Let's move. Let's go to Florida." And she just lights up ear to ear. And so we become super intentional. We sell the house. We start a business reselling shoes online. And we're doing great. Like, to the point where I'm like, man, we can really do this. And so we're in this townhome now that we're renting. And we buy a home out here in Florida, sight unseen, like maniacs. During the pandemic, January 31st, we jump in the truck and we move into our new home. We did it. We had enough courage. We had enough. And we banded together as a unit. And we did it. And I couldn't be prouder. And now we are stepping into a new era. An era where we're going to be collecting passive income. And I have only the roadmap to thank for that. I'm here to round this story out to tell the person that is watching this right now that you can do this. Everything in your life might be telling you that you cannot do it. Everything in your life might be saying it's too hard and you're never going to make it and how would you pay your bills? Do it now, guys, before it's too late. Time does not wait for you to find the right scenario. Your life is never going to be perfect enough for all of the stars to align and it just to work out magically. It's going to be hard work, but the work is worth it. So if you want to learn more about how I did this, you want to learn about the course that I took, DM me, put it in the comments. I will help you. I will help you take the necessary steps to do this. I hope that there's at least one person that sees this that takes action. Because right now is the time.